The story begins in the 1950s as a confident young model poses for photographer Jack Bernard. He claims to have worked with famous pinup stars, but quickly becomes predatory, touching her neck, invading her space, and pushing the meeting towards something she never agreed to. After she changes outfits, she searches the studio for him, unaware he is watching her from the shadows. The atmosphere grows eerie. His cigarette burns unattended, and a headless mannequin silently stands in the dressing room. When she bends down to grab her purse, Jack appears behind her with an axe and brutally kills her. He severs her head, places it atop the mannequin, and photographs his twisted art, marking the beginning of multiple disappearances. In the present, sisters Sophia and Liliana are shown the same warehouse. The real estate agent emphasizes that the building's historic character was preserved. Sophia, the more organized and ambitious sister, immediately sees its potential for a fashion studio. Liliana admires the space, but seems distracted by work stress. The sisters excitedly plan their new fashion workspace, reminiscing about their grandmother who taught them to sew. Sophia surprises Liliana with a plane ticket to Milan Fashion Week. A huge opportunity. Liliana is touched but anxious, knowing her job won't easily give her time off. Later at home, Liliana's boyfriend uses her apartment as a recording set for paranormal content. Their relationship strains as he ignores boundaries, and later at an engagement party, he repeats the same ghost story he always tells. Liliana's frustration builds until he suggests they move in together, and she abruptly breaks up with him. The next morning, friends help Sophia move into the studio. Among the old furniture, they discover an antique mannequin with strangely realistic proportions. Sophia instantly becomes attached to it and names it Alice Baldwin, treating it almost like a character. While unpacking, the friends find a small handmade pincushion doll that belonged to the sister's grandmother. A tense argument erupts over who should keep it. Their unresolved resentment surfaces, and Liliana storms out, overwhelmed by her collapsing job, relationship, and self-worth. Meanwhile, Liliana receives a work call. She is fired for supposedly losing a client's sample. Her boss threatens to blacklist her from all of Los Angeles fashion. Terrified and ashamed, she ignores calls from her friends. At the studio, as Sophia cleans and prepares for yoga class the next day, music begins warping with static. She sees a pale figure with white eyes at the top of the stairs. A whistle echoes, and before she can react, she drops her phone, and blood splatters violently. Her death is staged as a suicide. 1 year later, Liliana returns to the city. The agent encourages her to take leftover items as mementos, including the mannequin. Unpacking alone in the studio, she listens to old messages from her ex, and the music glitches again, a warning sign the haunting never ended. That night, she hears the sewing machine running by itself. Approaching it slowly, she sees the ghostly silhouette of Sophia sewing with rigid mechanical motions. A blood-soaked male figure watches from behind her. She wakes up with fresh bruises around her neck, as if something strangled her. Nain and Hazel visit the next day. Liliana wears Sophia's clothes, decorates like her, and speaks as if the studio still belongs to her sister. Hazel notices the mannequin and repeats the name Alice Baldwin, saying Sophia used to call it that often, which shakes Liliana deeply. The three discuss how Liliana disappeared for a year after Sophia died. Liliana explains she left the country to escape grief and guilt, and now feels compelled to finish Sophia's dream. She admits she feels Sophia's presence constantly, almost reassuring, but also unsettling. That night, Hazel stays over. As Liliana works through sketches, the speaker blasts music distorted by static. The mannequin's head suddenly drops to the floor. Twice, Hazel, half asleep, feels cold droplets on her forehead and looks up to see a corpse hanging from the ceiling, dripping blood. A blood-covered man appears behind her with a bullet hole in his head. Jack Bernard's ghost. Hazel becomes possessed. Her eyes turn white, and she moves stiffly, grabbing a fabric cutter and pressing it to her neck. Liliana stops her just in time. Hazel collapses, horrified at what she almost did. At the hospital, Nain tries rational explanations. Sleepwalking, stress, maybe trauma. But Liliana insists that something supernatural is happening and that Sophia never would have committed suicide. Tension spikes when Nain dumps Liliana's wine, worried she's drinking too much. That night at Nain's home, paranormal attacks intensify. Shadows pull Nadine's sheets. Hazel sees a pale hand rising from the bathtub behind Nain soon. A possessed Nain slices her own legs, then attacks Hazel violently. The girls save her, but she loses a finger. Desperate, Liliana contacts her ex-boyfriend Peter, a paranormal investigator. He reveals the building's history, built in 1923 as a mannequin factory, then converted into a photography studio under Jack Bernard. Jack Bernard. Models disappeared. Their remains never recovered. He shot himself in 1999 before being arrested. Peter explains the injuries on the girls' bodies. The spirits have marked them. The only way to sever the connection is to confront it inside the original site, the studio with the mannequin. The group returns at night. Peter places protective crystals in the car and detects strange motion circling the vehicle. Inside, they find the mannequin fully disassembled, as if preparing itself for reconstruction. Peter resets the mannequin, draws a ritual circle, sets up cameras, and begins a blood ritual. Slicing his palm and pouring blood on the mannequin, lights flicker violently. The mannequin begins to bleed. A shadow appears near the doorway. As the ritual intensifies, Liliana begins shaking uncontrollably. Suddenly, she snaps into a possessed state, grabbing scissors and attacking Peter. When he disarms her, she seizes the axe and chops off his hand. Hazel uses their grandmother's sewing pin, the emotional core of the sisters' bond, stabbing Liliana in the back. The pin triggers a vision of Sophia, who reaches toward Liliana lovingly. Liliana collapses, released from possession. As they escape with the gravely injured Peter, dozens of spectral victims materialize inside the studio, searching for their missing body parts taken decades earlier. The real estate agent, secretly watching from the shadows, types a screenplay titled The Mannequin. He signs it as Jack Bernard III, revealing he is continuing his family's disturbing legacy. Liliana later visits Sophia's grave, placing the inherited pincushion doll on the tombstone. She feels a soft, gentle touch on her back, a peaceful goodbye from her sister. The warehouse is rented again. Jack Bernard III greets the new tenant beside a fully restored mannequin, smiling, and the cycle of horror begins anew. The story begins. Thanks for watching another chilling later at home here on while unpacking. At the studio, if this story left you breathless, the three discuss Hazel becomes that night. Peter explains the group returns at Peter resets as the ritual and Hazel uses their as they escape with the real estate agent Liliana later. The warehouse is rented again. Jack